Donkey Pun Tally.
Okay.
I got something for you.
Considering how far back Donkey Kong goes, it drives me bananas how tiny his spotlight is. Miyamoto never gave the guy the kind of love he gave Mario or Zelda or even Star Fox, which is as sad as it is strange because that's one of his babies.
Cause that's my baby.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the first characters he created. Donkey Kong was the first game he developed. It launched his career and was the seed that grew into the tree that is Nintendo. Yet there are so few leaves that resemble this root. And if those aren't enough horticultural analogies for you, how's this? Nintendo's MPK ratio is like 30, 5, and like fucking 8. Anyone who's grown weed or tomatoes or plantains knows exactly what I'm talking about. Old Shiggy whipped up a pair of sequels and DK fell into obscurity for 11 years. Understandable since Mario and Zelda were about to become top banana, but take note, because this was the beginning of a frustrating tradition of locking up their IPs, creating droughts like some kind of gamer dust bowl. Then again, maybe they just couldn't find a studio they felt would properly handle the DK brand. It turned out to be the right call because it fell into the most capable of hands. Rare's evolution of Donkey Kong remains the most resonant interpretation, which is why their departure was a total blast-o-matic to the heart of the series. Donkey Kong fell to the bottom of Nintendo's priorities once more, appearing in weird spin-off rhythm games with a bongo peripheral, and reigniting his old rivalry in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series of puzzle games. The franchise was in its second dark age until Retro performed a revival.
Chicken, a Russ, chicken, a Russ.
The country comeback games are amazing. That said, as a hardcore DK fan since the 90s, it's hard not to pine for them to harken back to those glory days. Don't get me wrong, I think Retro did a superb job. I just think Rare did even better. Each level had its own gimmick or mechanic or shtick, and the designs were as masterful as Miyamoto playing Mario Maker.
Monkey!
All the bonus rooms were different, the collectibles were more gratifying, and there were so many that some people say there were too much. Whatever the hell that means. Even the voice acting was better, and the motifs were way more idiosyncratic and, what's the word? Appealing. Rare gave us pirates and mad scientists, castles and evil toy factories. Crazy Kremland alone had fucking beehives, roller coasters, and this old gem. Now compare all this with Retro's games. They still have amazing level designs that can even tell an interesting little story through them, but only natural environments. All the bonus rooms are the same. You can't even play as certain characters in single player, they just act as backups to DK. Literally, Returns has pretty much the same locations as the original, but I can look past this because it's a reboot/revival thingy, it banks on nostalgia, and it takes place on DK Island. But they redesigned the island itself.
For some other crazy-ass reason.
And all the worlds of Tropical Freeze are just more natural environments. Again, don't get me wrong. Retro's DK Revival is amazing. The level designs are brilliant, the art direction is gorgeous, there's shopping and character selection, sorta. They're crazy challenging, there's lots of collectibles and completion rewards, and the music is even composed by David Wise. So it's not whose games are superior, they're both great, and any preference I give the originals is based out of nostalgia and personal taste. But I know I'm not being biased when I say that despite how good Retro's games are, it just feels like there's something missing.
Some big Raging hot barbecue sauce.
The thing that gets me is that Rare came first, and they're the ones who established most of the elements of the series. Miyamoto conceived the character, but he never revisited him after the arcade trilogy. In fact, he detested Rare's pre-rendered graphics and mistakenly considered the level design substandard. He seems to think of DK as part of the Mario universe rather than a separate IP. Everything in the DK series, the character designs, the gameplay styles, the bananas and barrels, the collectibles and Kong letters, the humorous tone, and the lore is Rare's creation. Donkey Kong was theirs the way Kirby is HAL's and Fire Emblem is Intelligent Systems. Retro cherry-picked the bare minimum of source materials, like bananas and barrels, and awesome articulate alliteration. But if you ask me, they abandoned too much stuff that was already molded into the whole universe. The themed settings, a chunk of the music, all but 2 animal buddies, equal playability between characters, different bonus rooms, and the enemies. I love it when developers try new things to keep it fresh, but not when these things totally replace the things we've spent so many years growing attached to. Without a doubt, the biggest omission from this series has been the Kremlings. What the f happened to K. Rool and his reptilian army? These were the series' signature baddies, and then they were quietly upended by woodland critters and fucking tiki things.
What have I got? A rice, a rice chicken. What have I got?
Someone at Nintendo or Retro either didn't think they could pull it off or just wanted to go in a new direction. But judging by the fact that K. Rool was not just my most wanted Smash fighter, but the most wanted, I don't think I'm the only one that wants them back. Removing K. Rool and the Kremlings from DK is like removing Bowser and the Koopas from Mario. They haven't made a mainline appearance since 1999. Can you imagine if Bowser hadn't appeared in the last 20 freaking years? Sure, there've been other threats, but the regular crowd still appeared often enough that I was never bothered by their absence in other games. Conversely, the occasional change was refreshing, but the Kremlings were never seen or heard from again after that legendary boxing match. Except for this one time where they begged Nintendo for a job just to be made the goalies in Mario Strikers, which makes me think they made K. Rool the janitor. And it's not just them either. Zingers, Naughties, Neckies, these guys, those dudes, and other familiar mainstays have all inexplicably gone extinct. The DK universe has a huge gaping hole in it that can only be filled by an obese lizard and his crazy cronies. Retro, I don't know if you're still helming the series, but if you are, then do us a favor. Take a cue from your name and bring back all the beloved elements of the series. The lore, the characters, the gameplay, and the goddamn crocodiles. Moving on, if there's one thing I wanted since I was a kid and would still go apeshit for today, it is a sequel to Donkey Kong 64. I can play that game time and time again. I don't give a fuck what people say. I love this game. It is a part of me. It was incredible, especially for its time. Yeah, it's got problems like badly placed bananas and rigged races and—
Welcome to bonus stage.
But any shortcomings flew over my head because it was just so goddamn magical to my 8-year-old face. Each world down to the hub was huge and diverse. There were so many things to do and collect that some people say there was too much content. It had charm and wit and 5 friggin' monkeys. This game did to Donkey Kong what 64 did to Mario and Ocarina of Time did to Zelda. But then it just stopped. The Country series is legendary, but it can't live alone. DK is too important to be relegated to just a side-scroller. I need another 3D Donkey Kong game. Or at the very least, 3DS remake? Come on. And I'd say Switch, but I don't want to overstep, and I still love my little Majora's Mask 3DS. And mostly because they gave that treatment to just about every other big N64 game. They even bothered to pluck out Banjo and Conquer for a remake of Diddy Kong Racing, so why not? You give that a remake but not DK64? And instead of continuing the trend of HD remakes of GameCube games and 3D remakes of 64 games, You do a whole flip-flop? What kind of business are you running over there? A monkey business?
You're acting bananas.
Honey, good news! I made partner!
The fact of the matter is this. Fuck you, Microsoft.
Hey, fuck you, man!
And fuck you, Rare.
Fuck you!
And fuck you, Nintendo, for not cementing Rare as a second party.
Fuck you, man.
You all collectively fucked it up.
Fuck you. Fuck the three of you. You maniac! God damn you all to hell!
The corporate shakeup of Rare left Donkey Kong without its guiding light. Retro's interpretation of the brand is awesome in and of itself, but it doesn't fully capture the essence that Rare created. But you know what? Maybe that is the fate of Donkey Kong. To swing around from studio to studio, not with a single identity, but with an ever-changing one. Kinda like Resident Evil. The series will never be quite the same again, and there's no telling what could have been. But I guess we can always go back and play those classic rarities while still appreciating retros for what they are. As for the future, hopefully the crushing void left by all the series elements will be felt by whatever studio is next up at the helm. With any luck and logic, they will right these wrongs in both the second and third dimensions. And a fourth, if physically possible. And damn, I really hope Nintendo makes a Donkey Kong game in-house again. I mean, that's their fucking baby.
I don't want anybody messing with my baby.
No one's gonna mess with your baby.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about the past when this show is usually about looking towards the future, or at least catching up with the present. And while I do want all that good stuff mentioned to come back, I definitely think they're worth expanding on. Like, how about a horror theme? We did pirates and sci-fi and natural monkey habitats, but how about expanding on Gloomy Gulch and Creepy Castle into a full game? I could go for some zombie Kremlings led by the ghost of King K. Rool. In fact, Death would totally explain his long hiatus. And it's not like the series is a stranger to killing off characters just to bring them back as phantoms. Since they're willing to spin DK off into rhythm and puzzle games, plop him in some other genres, like a beat 'em up, a Metroidvania, or an RPG. And, who is Donkey Kong's brother? You know, Diddy's daddy? Is it Funky? What if DK has an estranged brother that he has a strained relationship with because he's a drunken deadbeat just lying around the beach every day drinking banana-flavored schnapps? And that's why he took over as Diddy's guardian. And for some hilarious reason, he's still Cranky's favorite son. Now what if Diddy gets abducted and Donkey recruits his brother to save him? And Donkey Kong has to reunite with his son? That would make a dope game.
Yes, that.
People, Nintendo, fellow hominids, we need more Donkey Kong. And if you need some perspective on that, think about it this way. There are slightly more Metroid games than Donkey Kong games.
That is bananas.